Danny Golding starts now.
That's gold, Jerry. Gold!
San Francisco!
And the Giants have won. They have won the World Series for the third time in 5 years.
The road to redemption has brought the Warriors back home. The Golden State Warriors are the 2017 NBA champions.
Now your host, Danny Golden.
What is going down, everyone? Welcome to another edition of The Gold with Danny Golding, as we are already in March. It is March the 2nd. Man, February only being 28 days made it go by too quick. We have a few things to get into tonight, but I want to start off with the biggest news that broke in NFL free agency yesterday, and that is the fact that the 49ers have traded Deebo Samuel to the Washington Commanders for a 5th-round pick. The trade won't be official until the new league year starts on March 12th. Deebo was drafted in the 2nd round of the 2019 draft at pick 36. And, I'll tell you, he had a good career with the Niners, but you could tell last season that the relationship was just not going to continue into next season. Deebo had one more year left on his contract, which will put the 49ers in over a $31 million dead cap hit. The Niners had $50.2 million in cap space before the trade, which will now drop to $34 million. In Deebo's rookie year, the first Super Bowl year, 2019, he had 57 catches for 802 receiving yards and 3 rushing and receiving touchdowns. 2020, in the pandemic injury-driven year, he only played in 7 games. 2021, he had his absolute best season with 77 catches for 1,405 yards, 365 rushing yards, 6 touchdown receptions, and 8 rushing touchdowns. Deebo was an absolute monster behind the backfield in that year. And that's when Kyle Shanahan pretty much thought that he was a better running back than he was a receiver, in my opinion. Fast forward to 2022, he had 2 touchdown receptions and 3 rushing touchdowns playing in 13 games. 2023, 7 touchdown receptions, 5 rushing touchdowns. And this past season, 2024, he had his worst season with the Niners with only 670 receiving yards. Most of which were after the Niners were already eliminated from playoff contention. 3 touchdown receptions, 1 rushing touchdown. And Deebo this past season will be most remembered for tweeting before the Week 15 game against the Rams that he's not struggling, just not getting the ball. And then he drops an easy first down reception that likely could have been a touchdown when the Niners were not finding the end zone at all, and it's a must-win game against the division rival Rams. So, that's kind of how his career is going to be known for ending. After Deebo's breakout year in 2021, he requested a trade in the 2022 offseason when the Niners weren't able to get any intriguing offers. They signed him to a $71 million extension. Back on February 9th, Nick Ragnar reported on ESPN that the Niners were giving Deebo and his agent permission to seek a trade. So it was obvious that it was going to come sooner or later. Brandon Ayuk, who has already been the Niners' number 1 receiver pretty much the past couple years, will continue to fill that role. He tore his ACL in the game against the Chiefs last season, and his status for Week 1 is uncertain, but hopefully he'll be healthy at least early into the season, if not by Week 1. Juwan Jennings, who I remember was first known as Third and Juwan, has continued to show that he's a reliable wide receiver. He's outplayed Deebo the past couple seasons. Ricky Pearsall, of course, missing the first 6 weeks of the season after being shot, that's not something that you hear every day. That's very odd thing to say when talking about, sports injury. But yes, for those of you who don't know, Ricky Pearsall, the Niners' first-round draft pick last year, after an autograph signing, was stalked by a fan and then was shot by Union Square in downtown San Francisco. He got quick medical help, and luckily it was just out the first 6 weeks of the season on what was, a life-threatening injury. And all that aside, just from a football standpoint, he looked pretty average for most of the season, but he showed a lot of promise in the last few games. So hopefully he's able to continue where he left off next season, and hopefully we see more promise out of Jacob Cowling as well. Let's see, Rockin' New Era 84. What up? Welcome. Yo. What's good? And of course, Rockin', I got, along with some other people, I actually got the opportunity to meet when I was in the Bay Area. As I pull up that picture right here, the whole YouTube squad, AJ Cruz, 75, who I know comes on here as well. Tacky, Pat H, Ernie Chavez, the whole YouTube squad I got to meet at Buffalo Wild Wings in the Bay Area. Yep, on a little late night stream tonight. Yes, text the guys. Yes, I can show that picture on the screen as well. We're also live on Instagram as well for the first time. So for those watching on Instagram, if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, Danny Golding TV, you can do that as well. We're also live on Twitter as well, where it says I have 11 viewers, which I'm pretty sure are just bots, but we'll see about that. So I'm going to shift some gears, talk about the Warriors, who have been absolutely on fire lately. Which, by the way, I hope you like the new mic that I have. So yeah, the Warriors, they got off to that great 13-2 start, but since then have struggled a lot. But lately, they've been on fire. I mean, not too long ago, though, they were in 11th place in the West, not even in playoff contention. And since the addition of Jimmy Butler, they are 8-2. They did lose last night to the Magic, but you can just sense the tone just being different since the addition of Jimmy Butler. And Draymond Green was asked about that during the All-Star when he was working for TNT, doing some pregame and postgame coverage for the All-Star game for TNT. He was asked, and this is about 3 weeks ago at this point, but he was asked about what a Jimmy Butler addition meant to him, and this is what he had.
He's brought a purpose back to this organization. I think, we were kind of headed in the wrong direction, thinking we figured it out and never figuring it out this year, throughout the course of this year. And since he's been here, we've walked into every game thinking and believing that we're going to win that game. And that goes a long way in this league. When you walk in the game like, we probably going to lose this game, it's not good. And so he's brought back that belief, and I think we're going to win the championship.
Say that one more time so that everybody here can
say that with your chest.
I didn't hear you. My earpiece.
Because they added Jimmy Butler the third. So what did you say?
81?
I'm sorry. I said I think we're going to win a championship, but I lied. We are going to win the championship.
Wow.
That's what's going to happen.
Draymond.
Yes, absolutely love the confidence there by Draymond Green. Now, do I think the Warriors are realistically going to win the championship this year? Probably not. Now, they're in 7th place right now. They're the 7th seeded in the Western Conference at 32-28. But, I mean, the Western Conference, And now Draymond says, he's not scared of anyone, but hey, the Western Conference it's no joke. I mean, the Thunder, they're in first place, 49-11, Nuggets in second place. And hey, the Lakers, who are now in third place, I mean, they just got Luka, and him and LeBron are building some chemistry and aren't playing too bad. But hey, would it not be now? The Warriors are the 7th seed. Hopefully and now the Kings right now are the 8th seed. Now it'd be nice for the Warriors to get to the 6th seed, not even have to worry about the play-in tournament or anything. But wouldn't it be crazy if the Warriors are somehow the 8th seed and then they play the Thunder for the 1 seed and we have another We Believe part 2? I mean, that would be crazy. And Rockin points out the Warriors without Butler is basically the Warriors team before the Butler trade. Yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, with an exception for that 12-3 start and then, some flashes after that, it's kind of been an up and down year for the Warriors. Pretty much, but since the Jimmy Butler addition, since the trade for Jimmy Butler, things are looking very bright. And Rockin, you bring up the fact that the Suns will likely trade KD in the offseason, which I would agree will probably happen. I don't see him coming back to Golden State, but he was on Draymond Green's podcast actually addressing all that. His podcast with the great Baron Davis, and this is what he had to say.
A few weeks ago, you said you didn't want to be traded in the middle of the season, which is why you didn't come to the Warriors, which I thought was going to happen. I was at the game. I was like, oh, man, KD came over here. He showed me love. I was like, oh, we about to get KD. Do you want your career to end in Phoenix?
Man, I want my career to end on my terms. That's the only thing.
Bingo.
That's the only thing I'm worried about. You know what I'm saying?
That's all that matters.
Because I see a lot of dudes that don't get that opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So I want to keep putting in that work to, make that choice on my own. But as far as the Warriors, I just didn't think it was, and then I didn't want to move. And then as a player like me, I cost a lot. Me going into your team is going to make it's going to be a whole new era of your team when I get to your team. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's a lot of work and
change
through the season. Like, I'm still of value, you know what I'm saying? Especially in my contract and just my production, that me just getting up and moving in the middle of the season, it's going to be a big blow to any team I'm going to, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I get why y'all want to trade me, and y'all looking at it just from simple fact that's just business. But from me looking at it, I'm just like, it just don't make sense for either side right now to go through that. You know what I'm saying? When we just play the season out, and if that's the decision you want to make, in the off season, then you figure it out.
So be it. Yeah.
It's just such a big change to make, and I've been through it before. I was like, damn, that's not really it.
It ain't the right move. Like, to be able
and I
to move in the middle of the season and all that. 26 games left.
If I can stop it, then why not? You know what I'm saying? But I can't. And then the narratives that's gonna come with all that shit. It was just like, you don't want to go you don't want to go play with Draymond no more. You don't want to, the narrative got in your way. You don't want to go back. I was like, yeah, that shit is annoying. I don't like it, but I can play under, like, you don't know what, like, the type of shit that people say about me. I could play under the noise. It's a simple fact that, like, there's no need. I didn't feel like it was a need to, make that big of a change right now. It didn't make sense to me. Yep. So I tried to. I'm glad it was, and look what y'all doing right now, Trey. Y'all looking good, Jimmy, and then you still got Kaminga on the way back. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't think it made sense.
Now, I love KD, but that being said, he has issues, and you can tell he can be too sensitive at times, and he doesn't take criticism by no names on Twitter too well, which is a little bit ridiculous. But so before the Warriors traded for Jimmy Butler, just about literally the day before, it was reported that Kevin Durant was likely going to be traded back to the Warriors. And then, the next day, probably like 5 or so hours before the Jimmy Butler trade went down, it was announced that KD did not want to go back to Golden State. Now, why, in my opinion, would he not want to go back to a team where he could win a championship, where he's already won 2 championships? And the answer to that is it's for the same reason why he left in the first place after winning 2 championships, losing the one in the 2018-2019 season. It's because he didn't want to be second or third fiddle to Steph and Clay. Now, even though, he arguably and he was the most dominant player on the team, even with Steph being there, he still was the most dominant player on the team. He wasn't going to be as loved as Steph would never be. And he's never, at that point, he would never be considered a Warrior overall because he's not homegrown like the guys. And that's why, Iguodala got his jersey retired. And I don't even know if KD will end up getting his jersey retired. But if he had come back to Golden State, he could have been the key factor that actually won them. It gave him more of a chance to win a championship. Now, he says that he doesn't want to move, which, I get the whole idea in free agency a lot, when players have to, get traded in the middle of the season. For players that actually have a wife and kids and, having to move their family and have their kids go to another school, that I understand perfectly. But KD is single. He does not have any kids. And, hey, he's in Phoenix. Hey, I'm in Phoenix and I travel to the Bay Area usually once a year just on a cheap Southwest flight. KD, he can keep his house in Paradise Valley or wherever he lives in the Phoenix area and then just, get another house in the Bay Area easily and no problem. He has generational wealth. So that part didn't make sense. And I got nothing but love for KD. I do. But I do not see him ever returning back to Golden State. And, I love all the things he did when he was here, but he'll never be as loved as Steph, as Clay, as Draymond, and maybe even as Iggy, and just like how Rockin' New Era 84 points out. And then that is true. And yeah, I don't see him winning a championship. Like obviously this year with the Suns. I mean, the Warriors and the Suns basically kind of switched places in the sense. The Suns before were about in the 9th seed, and they were like a couple games over 500, and now they're in 11th place where the Warriors were not too long ago, and they're 28-32. They have the opposite record as the Warriors, who are 32-28. Give a shout out to everyone watching on Instagram as well as YouTube and Twitter. So yeah, that's basically, my take on the whole situation is I don't think KD will ever really be happy until he finds a team where he's able to be the number one guy and win a championship. And he likely will be traded from the Suns next year. He was asked on the podcast that you heard if he would end his career in Phoenix, and he said that he just wants to end his career on his own terms. But yeah, I do not see him returning to the Suns next year, and I do not see him returning to Golden State as well. So I don't see him necessarily winning another championship in his career. So I think that the most success that he was going to have had was from 2016 to 2019, his years at Golden State. And I've watched his whole career. I remember when he was drafted by the then Seattle Supersonics. He got to play for them for one season, and they moved to OKC, became the Oklahoma City Thunder. Just still don't get that relocation move, by the way. And he had an incredible career in OKC. And then after losing in the Western Conference Finals, after being up 3-1 to the Warriors, of course, who then, despite beating the Bulls for having the best record of all time, going 73-9 that year, end up losing to the Cavs despite being up 3-1. But after that, KD goes to Golden State and it becomes a super team with Steph, Clay, Draymond, and KD. So I actually wanted to shift gears again a little bit, keep it on the NBA focus, but talk about the NBA All-Star Weekend that happened in the Bay Area a few weeks ago. And I thought that the All-Star game itself, I don't dislike it as much as the majority of people do. You know, the Shaq's OGs, that team. Of course, it had Steph and Damian Lillard and all the worthy players playing against rising stars. I didn't hate it. And I also never really hated East versus West. I always liked it. It was never going to be as competitive as the regular season because the players want a break. But, you know, back when Kobe was playing, you'll never see the All-Star game that competitive, as competitive as it was then. Now, a lot of people were asking for a solution. And a lot of people like the idea of if you could do USA versus the world. I remember I heard Steve Kerr on his weekly interviews, say that he thinks that'll cause the players to actually be motivated to play a competitive game. And I would agree with that. I think, and even back, years ago, back when I don't remember people hating on the East versus West as much, I remember even then people suggesting that idea. And I would not be against that. I think that would be the way to make it more interesting. And I loved, now the slam dunk contest has always been my favorite part of the NBA All-Star festivities. Now Mac McClung from the Magic, who's only a D-leaguer, he wins the NBA All-Star slam dunk contest for the third year in a row. And he had his dunk where he jumped over a car, mimicking what Blake Griffin did back in 2011. Now, I'm a sucker for those kind of dunk contests. Those are awesome. Now, I remember Dwight Howard in 2008 with the Superman prop in the dunk. So I don't really care if Mac McClung is only a D-leaguer. Because that's the criticism is, why are you having a dunker who's not even an NBA player, basically. I think that it's a dunk contest. All that really matters is having the best dunker in general. That's really all that matters. Now, I thought the Bay Area hosted the All-Star game great. I loved how they had events at Oracle, or the Oakland Arena, formerly known as Oracle Arena, as well. Now, the Celebrity All-Star game I thought was very underrated, where you had Barry Bonds, whose jersey I'm wearing right now, the road Bonds jersey with the 2007 All-Star game patch. He coached against Jerry Rice. Of course, Jerry Rice, the greatest receiver of all time. Barry Bonds, the home run king with 762 home runs. Two Bay Area sports legends coaching a Celebrity All-Star game in the Bay Area was an absolute great touch. Of course, you had Terrell Owens and Baron Davis playing as well. And Baron Davis was my favorite Warrior back in the day. He was the first jersey I ever had. And, I was devastated when he got released and then went to the Clippers. And, of course, I played the clip with the podcast. He does the podcast with Draymond Green now as well. It was a nice touch to be able to see Baron Davis playing a live basketball game again, but you could tell that he definitely, gained a little bit of weight and wasn't the same. And seeing T.O. play again, man, that brought back a lot of good memories from the past. And okay, no worries, Rock. We'll do another stream soon when everyone else is able to. But yeah, but I'll pull that thing that I have again. It's the whole YouTube squad. Again, met at Buffalo Wild Wings when I visited the Bay Area in Dublin. Took the BART over there. So yeah, it's all good. Thank you for trying to get them to watch. It's all good. We'll do another one sometime soon. Another thing, actually. Rock, I don't know if you saw that. So Devondre Campbell, of course, Week 15 against the Rams was the first game that Dre Greenlaw played again after being injured in the Super Bowl. And he doesn't start because Dre, it's his first game back, and he's the one starting because DeAndre Campbell started for him when he wasn't available up to that point in the season. And then he needs to come in the game due to I believe it was Flanagan fouls. They got injured, so Dre had to come to the game, and he decides that he's not coming in, which got leaked. I believe right after the game, it was leaked to the world that DeAndre Campbell basically quit on his team and said he was not coming. He's not coming back. He's not coming in. He's butthurt that Dre started over him, which I don't get why he would. I mean, Dre Greenlaw is an all-pro linebacker. But he did not come in when he was asked to. And the reason why that's being brought up again is because, well, he was talking some shit on Twitter, basically saying, hey, I don't give a fuck. I'm rich. And just, going at random fans. They're talking shit to him, rightfully so, because he did quit on his team. So I just thought that was interesting. I don't know if you heard about that, Rockin', but yeah, there's AJ Cruz. What is good? What is good? What is good? Let me pull this back up again. The whole YouTube squad I got to meet, which included AJ Cruz as well at Buffalo Wild Wings. Nice to meet you as well, AJ. Welcome to the chat. Oh, Skills has a show? I didn't know. I gotta check that out sometime as well. Nice. Okay. Nice. We're also we're live streaming on X, aka Twitter, as well as Instagram as well for the first time. The Instagram thing is I got some people. It says that 0 people are watching right now, but I had some people join before. So if you're watching on Instagram, post in the chat there. Let me see that you're watching as well. But yeah, DeAndre Campbell talking a whole bunch of shit. I'm gonna pull it up so I can kind of read it and kind of read the parts that I can. Let me find. Sorry, give me a second. Let's see. All right, so I'll read what I can read, and then, okay, this one tweet doesn't have too many expletives that I can't read. So let me read this one. So he says, "I ain't addressing shit. I'm rich and never have to work another day of my life. And I told Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch that when they FaceTime me and begged me to come out there an hour after Green Bay cut me, I really be sparing." Not going to read that. "I play because I want to." Now, yes, you're rich. You don't have to work another day in your life, but your reputation is tarnished. Why would you want your reputation to just be absolutely tarnished like that? I mean, your NFL career is done. Yeah, you're rich. Sure, you can. You don't have to play again. You can, you already have generational wealth, but why would you want to completely destroy your reputation like that? I mean, your reputation was already destroyed by quitting on your team, but then you're going to go on Twitter and talk shit like that? Like, I don't know. I just think that's very interesting. I mean, is he suffering from does he have CTE? Like, why Why does he think that's the right to go? What do you? I don't know. What do you people in the chat think? I don't know. A very, very, very bizarre. So I think I'm gonna get into my anniversaries and crazy stories segments pretty soon. I just want to read, maybe see if anyone wants to chime in on that real quickly in the chat, because that was another interesting thing that I saw that happened as well. Let's see. Oh, also, actually, I'll quickly get into the Super Bowl 59 recap a little bit, because the last time I was live, I did a live stream, was the night before the Super Bowl. Now it's interesting. So usually when I watch a game that my team isn't involved in, I usually have a rooting interest, because it's hard to just watch a game and not have a rooting interest. And going into that Super Bowl, I didn't want either team, of course. The Chiefs had beaten my 49ers twice in a Super Bowl. I mean, not just that. I mean, they're the evil empires of the NFL. Everyone's rooting against them regardless on if they beat your team in the Super Bowl or not. And the Eagles, even though I'm friends with a lot of fans, and I'll give Rob Abrams, the great John Ammo, one of the creators of the NFL Trash Talking Circle that I was a part of for years on YouTube, and Philly Zorka, a Phillies fan that I met on YouTube, or Eagles/Phillies fan that I met on YouTube back in 2009, that I actually got the pleasure of meeting when I went to the Bay Area last summer. I went to a Giants-Phillies game. So there's some Eagle fans that I'm cool with, but a good majority of the fans are absolute fucking shit, and they're absolute trash. They treat their fans they treat opposing fans horrible when they come into their stadium wearing opposing jerseys. Not all of them, of course, but quite a lot of them do that. They threw batteries at Santa Claus with the 60s or whenever that was. Right? Maybe they just booed him. I don't know. I remember when the Niners went to Philly in 2009, there's a classic video of them throwing snowballs at Niner fans. So I did not really want to root for either team. And I was kind of telling myself, and I said that in the stream, if you watched the stream the night before the Super Bowl when I was last on, I said that I was just going to root for the Chiefs because, I mean, I didn't want the Eagles to be the team that was able to actually be the first team that did not have Tom Brady, a quarterback, to actually beat the Chiefs in a Super Bowl. But once the game was starting, I kind of changed my tone, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to root for the Eagles. And the Eagles absolutely dominated the Chiefs. They shut out Mahomes and the Chiefs up until the very end of the third quarter. They picked him off twice. One of them being the Cooper DeJean pick six, which I actually won $75 on a $25 bet courtesy of DraftKings by just placing a bet that there would be a special or defensive team touchdown scored on DraftKings. And DraftKings does not sponsor this podcast, but hey, if they want to, the offer is right on the table. So I think that's all I wanted to address in the main part of the show, but the show ain't over yet because we're going to get into our segment, Anniversaries and Crazy Stories.
It's now time for anniversaries.
Happy anniversary.
And crazy stories.
It was crazy.
On the Gold with Danny Golding.
So how this segment, Anniversaries and Crazy Stories, is going to work is the anniversary portion of it is kind of going to stick to sports related with other things in there as well. If I find any other anniversaries that happened interesting just in general. When the crazy stories part is going to be where it kind of gets non-sports related. We go into some stories that are crazy or funny and
crazy.
On the Gold with Danny Golding.
So February 27th, you could pretty much have that be Steph Curry Day, because back on February 27th, 2013, He basically showed the NBA world he was for real, despite the Warriors losing 109 to 105 to the New York Knicks. Steph scores 54 points at Madison Square Garden. Now, that season, 2012-2013, was the first time since the 06-07 We Believe year that the Warriors made it back to the postseason. And that's the game where Steph pretty much showed the world that, hey, I'm actually pretty damn good. Hey, Monta Ellis got traded last year. I'm the number one player on this team. And I am going to change the NBA world someday. I'm going to change the entire game. That was the year where you kind of got a little taste of that. Now, fast forward 3 years later, February 27, 2016. Steph Curry hits a buzzer beater against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And this is what it looked like.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! With 0.6 of a second remaining. The brilliant shooting of Stephen Curry continues. And he ties the NBA record with his 12th three-pointer of the game.
Mike Breen with a call on ABC. So those two big Steph games, February 27th, and then, just last Thursday, February 27th, 2025, in a game where the Warriors are off to a slow start and down 15 midway through the third quarter. Steph hits a buzzer beater to end the first half, scores 56 points, and here's a little taste of it.
That just typified the whole half. Steph from three-quarter court. Curry hits a three from beyond mid-court to end the half.
Like, this man is an alien. Not from this earth. He is different, and he concentrates on these, lines that one up perfectly.
So can you add another double-digit score to Steph Curry? Steph with a sidestep three, and somehow that rimmed in. Okay.
Well, somehow it's a shooter. Shooter's roll. He's going to get
the
that.
Top of the backboard and went in.
But it's Stephen Curry.
The whole game. Steph on the curl. Nice screen. Better shot.
So good.
Perfectly executed as Curry has 28. Take it away. Curry again. Buddy Hield back to Steph. Another three. Got it! This has got that record-setting feel. He's 9 of 12, and we got a long way to go.
Bob Fitzgerald with the call on NBC Sports Bay Area. And both of those clips that I played are courtesy of NBA and is in fair use for copyright issues. So hopefully they don't get on my channel for that. But man, Steph Curry is going to be 37 on March 14th, Pi Day, which my uncle also shares the birthday of, as a matter of fact. And he's showing no signs of slowing down. Now, Kobe played until he was about, I believe, 40 or... Let's see. I think... Actually, no, I think he was actually only 38. I could see Steph Curry playing until he's at least 41. I think he has at least 5 years left. Like, he's showing absolutely no signs of slowing down. Now, he also actually joined, let's see. He joined Wilt Chamberlain, Damian Lillard, Michael Jordan, and James Harden. Hell of a list when you have Damian Lillard, James Harden, and Wilt Chamberlain and Michael Jordan on it, by the way. That's a very, very unique list. So Steph Curry, Wilt Chamberlain, Damian Lillard, Michael Jordan, and James Harden all have scored 50-plus points after turning the age of 30. Now, I also think that Steph Curry will play in the 2028 Olympic game. I think he will try to give the USA another gold medal in 2028. Now, he's even joking about, he'll be the coach of that. But no, I think he's going to be playing. I mean, maybe he'll be a player coach, and I don't know. And I hopefully Steve Kerr can also coach the 2028 Olympic team as well. Now, for the crazy stories portion of this segment, I'll get into what Rockin had to say real quickly. I don't know, one goal. I think something he wanted to check off his bucket list. No, and that's true. It might not be a for sure thing, but you never know, because I think that let's say the 2027, 2028 season might be the last year that he plays in the NBA. So I would not be shocked if we see him back in the Olympic games as well. But yeah, it's likely that he just wanted to get that one gold medal off his bucket list. That is true as well. But hey, it would not shock me. That's all I'll say. It would not shock me. Now, I'm going to try not to get political onto this show, and I'm only going to talk, say something political when it's actually kind of funny, when I find humor in the situation. And with this current administration, there's a lot of that. And just like there was with the last administration as well. But hey, I'm doing this show now with this administration, so that's what's going to be, talk about when I find humor in it with this segment. So Elon Musk emailed government employees asking them to list 5 things that they did this week, or else they would be fired if they don't respond to the email. Now, there's some very funny responses to that. Here's what one of them is. It's like, "Dear Elon, here's what I did last week. Got blitzed on ketamine, ignored my children, tweeted 1,782 times, wore weird sunglasses inside, got humiliated by astronauts." So honestly, I think I should be fired for this. Someone else emailed him back and said what they did that week. "Banged your mom in the back of a 99 Civic, but not before we went to the Waffle House, but not before we did cocaine off the Coachella changing station, but not before we downloaded our data and dropped it off at the Chinese consulate, but not before we donated our 401ks to Pfizer." And Donald Trump also recently officially changed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which I heard is somehow going to bring down gas and grocery prices. There are some funny memes about that, but this is, I guess, a good name for the Gulf if you're not going to have it be the Gulf of Mexico like it's been for years, or the Gulf of America. Here's another good name for it, since it's in that area. Remind the people near Texas and near Louisiana and near all those southern states that, hey, the Cowboys fucking suck. That'd be cool as well. Let's see, what more do we got for this segment? Hold up. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys saw the Delta plane that landed upside down. Now, in the past month, since we had that tragic mid-air collision involving the American Airlines CRJ landing in the Reagan National Airport in D.C., colliding with the Black Hawk helicopter, since we had that tragic event, we've also had, there's been some other, non-commercial aviation accidents that have happened, but there's just been scares on other commercial planes. We haven't had any actual, any accident that had fatalities involving a commercial plane besides that one. But we had this that happened where, everyone survived. The Delta plane landing ends up going upside down.
Oh,
video from inside. People evacuating it. You know, someone took, a passenger took.
Holy fuck. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. Oh my fucking god. Yo, I was just on this fucking plane. Oh my god. Yo, I was just on this fucking plane. Holy.
Yeah, I think I would have the same reaction to that as well. Now, when I saw that, like on my timeline, now I knew that, you know, there were already people that survived because, you know, there's a picture of another passenger took of it being upside down after he had gotten off it. But I thought there has to be at least some fatalities. I mean, it going upside down, but nope, everyone survived. There were just a few injuries. Or that every passenger that was on that flight was going to get $30,000, which, you know, that I feel like you might need more than that after going through that traumatic experience. Like, wow, it's like where you're hiding says. Oh, yeah, why not Jared Goff? Yeah, for the Gulf of Mexico, America. Welcome where you're hiding. He says he's watching cockroach fans are out of pocket for thinking they fleece you guys. Yeah, absolutely. Like, come on. I mean, hey, you know, that'll be Jaden Daniels and the Commanders had a good year this year. You know, I could see Deebo with a fresh start having success in Washington, but yeah, there's no way they did not fleece the Niners. I mean, I wish the Niners would have gotten more than a 5th-round pick back, but no, like I do not think that they fleeced that. Let's see what else we got for this segment. Oh, actually, I didn't get into Iguodala's. I'll get into that before we get off the show, actually, because yeah, Andre Iguodala also had his jersey retirement ceremony. Let's see. Oh, so here's another almost plane accident that happened, but thanks to the good thinking for the Southwest pilot that absolutely avoided catastrophe. So there was a Southwest plane landing at Chicago Midway Airport, which is a big hub for Southwest. And there's another plane crossing the runway at the same time. But now this is what's actually called a touch and go. Actually, a lot of small planes do where they'll touch down and then they'll take off again. But this is, of course, actually a go around, but it's a little bit different because they actually touched down and was able to avoid the small jet that was mistakenly crossing the runway. So hell of a good move by the Southwest pilots there. Skype, who I have a lot of good memories on, is going to be shutting down officially in May. Now, I have not used Skype for years and years, and I used to use it back in the day. I remember I was 12 back in 2009, and I used Skype. I was able to call phone numbers on it, be able to make prank calls with Skype because it would just show as a private number. You could actually, I could call phones from my computer, and I did it to actually host my internet blog talk radio show that I used to host back then as well, and I used to have some memories talking to my internet friends on Skype. So I'll just play. Here's a classic Skype ringtone if anyone that used Skype might remember. So yeah. Actually, I'll get into what Where You Hiding actually says about, like, why are they devaluating a 5th-round pick? Like, you guys haven't been killing it day 3 lately, these past 2 chaps. Yeah, no, a 5th-round pick, I'm glad they were able to get that from Deebo because, Deebo hasn't been a big factor the last couple of years. So I wouldn't have been shocked if they weren't even able to get any kind of trade for him. And the Niners actually would have saved more cap money had they just released him, but they wanted some value back for him as well. So which was a smart move. Now the Niners, I believe they're going to have, let's see, I took some notes on this before. Yeah, let's see what we got. Okay, so they're going to, yeah, so they had $50 million in cap space, and now they're going to be down to $31 million. or not, sorry. They're going to be down to $34 million in cap space, and they took a $31 million cap hit, that dead cap hit. That's what it was. Okay, so they're going to go from having $50 million in cap space to having only $34 million, which that could come in as a factor, since they're now Parag Marathe is going to work his magic and be able to hopefully find Brock Purdy a deal that's under $60 million, hopefully. And Brock Tasia is going to want the most money, of course, which is probably going to at least be in the $50 million range. But hopefully it's able to be under $60 million. So that could end up being a factor, but I'm not worried at all. I believe the Niners will be able to re-sign Brock Purdy to a good extension that doesn't absolutely break the bank. And yeah, Skype was OG. Yeah, that was the thing back in the day. And it's funny, actually, I did try to log into it just like a little over a year ago. I actually was able to log into it and see my old contacts, which was funny. So I'll probably do that before it officially shuts down in May. But yeah, I was shocked that a lot of people were shocked that it even still existed, though, at the same time. Thanks to everyone that's watching on Instagram. I see some of my friends joining on. This is the first stream that I've done that's also simulcasted to Instagram. Thank you to all my friends watching there. And for those of you watching on there, you can subscribe to me on YouTube at Danny Golding TV as well. Follow me on Twitter/X at Danny Golding as well. And yeah, Zoom has taken over for video calls and all that. I remember there was something called Uvu back in the day that I used as well. And oh, by the way, there's another thing for the anniversaries and crazy stories segment, actually. So yeah, so Elon's son was in the White House about a few weeks ago. There's a video of him with Elon and with Trump with some reporters, which, by the way, I will never call Twitter X. I know I did. Because I think that's the stupidest name, and I've used Twitter since 2009, and I like the fact that it's being changed. The fact that it got changed to something else, I think is stupid. But if you're gonna name it anything X, is just naming it just one letter is the worst, like the dumbest thing. One of the dumbest things I've ever seen. I remember Sesame Street roasted Elon on Twitter when that was first announced. But Elon actually named his son X, by the way. And here's a video of him and Trump.
And I think a significant part of the presidency is to restore democracy. Democracy. This may seem like, well, are we in a democracy? The average American. I mean, imagine they're going down the grocery aisle and the prices from one year to the next are the same.
So basically in that, it was a little bit hard to hear, but supposedly Elon's 4-year-old son told Trump, "You're not the president. You need to go away." And then said, "I want you to shush your mouth." So I don't know. Maybe he's repeating stuff that Elon says to him in private, because that was very interesting. I thought, and as well. Yeah, Elon is the Aaron Rodgers of the business world. Thanks for watching Where You're Hiding. Appreciate it. Yes, Giants season is going to start soon. I already went to a spring training game last weekend. I'm probably going to go to one next week as well. So yeah, before I end this stream, I wanted to get into the Andre Iguodala jersey retirement ceremony that happened after the Warriors demolished the Mavericks just last Sunday. Week ago today. So Iguodala joins Warriors retired jerseys. Many legends such as Rick Barry, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Alvin Adams, who we lost just last year, Chris Mullin, Bill Russell, Nate Thurman, and Tom Meschery. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Now, Iguodala was not an ultra dominant player. He's not on the same level, of course. And when you go back and look at the dynasty, he's not going to be on the same level as Steph, Draymond, Clay, and KD for the little bit he was. But he was the first big free agent that the Warriors in this era signed. And so back in the 2013 offseason, before the 13-14 season, back when Mark Jackson was still the coach, the Warriors made a big free agent acquisition by getting Andre Iguodala. Now, prior to that, the Warriors had actually beat Iguodala's team in the first round of the 2012-2013 playoffs when they beat the Denver Nuggets. Now, in the jersey retirement ceremony, Steph, when he went to talk, he said that after that series where the Warriors beat the Nuggets, that Iguodala basically, went up to him half court and was like, "Hey, I really would love to join this team." Now, back then, the Warriors were not known for signing big free agents, and heck, living in the Phoenix area, then I remember they wouldn't even have any gear back at the sports stores there. I remember I got a Baron Davis jersey when I was 10. That's the only thing that I could find, ever in the Phoenix area. And I remember I went to San Diego actually in that same summer of 2013, around the same time where Iguodala signed with the Warriors from free agency. I was able to find like a Steph Curry shirt in San Diego, but there was like no. That just proves how irrelevant the Warriors were as a franchise back then. There was absolutely no gear you would even see at stores. And Iguodala, he kind of changed that. He was, being a big factor. And that's his first year. The Warriors make a decent playoff. Well, actually, they lose in the first round of the playoffs in 7 games to the LA Clippers, and that's when Mark Jackson gets fired, and then Steve Kerr becomes a new head coach. And then, the rest is history from there. The Warriors win their first title in the next season with Iguodala being Finals MVP, as a matter of fact. See, we got a user on Twitter that's not sure who this is. Thank you for watching, though. I as far as I know, I did not even know that Jimmy Butler was going through any kind of injury, so I did not hear that. But so yeah, hopefully he does play tomorrow. Some other interesting things actually that happened. Actually, before I get into that, another thing from Iguodala's jersey retirement ceremony is both Steve Kerr and Bob Myers talked about how, when Steve took over as coach and Andre's... What the actual fuck? My Alexa just scared the shit out of me. Alexa, shut up. Holy shit, that scared the hell out of me. Did not expect that. But, yeah, so both Bob Myers and Steve Kerr talked about how, in Steve's first year coaching Iguodala, how he decided to have him come off the bench, and he was worried to even tell Iguodala that because he had started his whole career, and who is this, new guy coming in as head coach telling me that I got to come off the bench. But hey, it worked out, and he won the Finals MVP that year, and he was a big factor for all of the Warriors championships, including the last one in the 21-22 championship, because of course he went to Miami Heat for a few years, where he also was in an NBA Finals, losing to LeBron and the Lakers back in the 2020 bubble NBA Finals. So yeah, he's been to... he's been to 4 finals. Or excuse me, he's won... Yeah, he's won 4 finals. He's been to 6 of them, including the 2018-2019 one. So a hell of a career for Andre Iguodala. But yeah, so Diana Taurasi retires from the WNBA, and I believe she's played there. She's played for the Phoenix Mercury for about 20 years. Let me look that up to make sure. Let's see. Yeah, from 2004 to 2024, she's played for the Phoenix Mercury. Now, I'm not going to lie and say I actually watched the WNBA, but back in 2008 when I was 11, I actually went to a Phoenix Mercury event where I got to ask the coach. It was Corey Gaines, a former NBA player. Back then, I got to ask him a question. Oh, did we lose the Instagram? Dang it. Dang, the Instagram stream, I guess it only lasts for an hour. Dang, I was hoping my viewers on Instagram would see the rest of this, but that's all good. I'm glad they could watch. But yeah, Diana Taurasi actually, during that event, that Phoenix Mercury event that I was at when I was 11, I didn't ask her a question, but I asked the head coach, Corey Gaines, a question. I remember, another kid asked Diana Taurasi a question, what your routine is, and she was nice and she got to answer. When you think of the WNBA, and now that's changed, because Caitlin Clark is being in the WNBA, but before Caitlin Clark went into the WNBA, who I would think the most of when I would think WNBA would be Diana Taurasi. So, yeah, hell of a career, playing 20 years. Also, Ron Wolfley, Arizona Cardinals analyst, who's been the Cardinals color commentator for 20 seasons, announced that he's retiring from that. He's going to keep doing his radio show in Phoenix, the Wolf and Luke show on 98.7 Arizona Sports. But he's going to be stepping down as the color analyst for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, being a Niner fan that moved to Phoenix when I was young, I used to listen to a lot of Cardinal games when Dave Pasch, who's, of course, the national announcer, Dave Pasch is also the local announcer for the Arizona Cardinals. He does play-by-play locally on the radio. And Ron Wolfley for 20 years has been the color commentator. And he's had some amazing calls. And you could just tell he's absolutely, he has fun doing it. Which, Tim Ryan, Niners color analyst, you can tell he has a lot of fun doing it as well. But he just had, some funny calls, some creative calls as a color commentator. So he's going to be missed for sure. And also, Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN after next year is going to be done. And, when I think Sunday Night Baseball, I think of John Miller and Joe Morgan from back in the day. So it's gonna be different not having Sunday Night Baseball. So yeah, I think that'll be a wrap for the show. Thank you to everyone that watched on Instagram, Twitter /X, and YouTube as well. Thanks to Rockin' New Era 84. Thanks to AJ Cruz. Thanks to Where You Hiding. So this has been The Gold with Danny Golding. As we conclude The Gold with Danny Golding, I just want to end with the golden rule, and that's treat other people the way you want to be treated. Peace.